Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Suburban Driving with Miranda. Sadly, winter has not left. Here we are in the country with the all-new 2021 Cadillac Escalade. This is a huge vehicle in every sense of the word. Let's check it out. Driving the 2021 Cadillac Escalade, premier, luxury, top of the line, whatever this thing is, it has all of the options and bells and whistles, is as grand and big and opulent as you would think it would be. You could see the absolute cavernous space behind me there. So it has 3 rows. We have the 3rd row down right now, plus the 2nd one, because we just spent our last weekend snowboarding in the woods up in Sutton, which is why he's also there with me. And, you know, we are only 2 people doing this trip, so truthfully we didn't need this much space, but it was really nice to have for the journey. This is such a comfortable car. You know, it has a massive engine. I've got a V8 in here with about 400 and something horsepower, and it is so heavy and large. You know, this thing weighs almost 3,000 kilograms, I think, so it's not light. I can put in 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. I've kept it in 2 right now, even though it did snow here last night. We came up in the rain, so of course we're leaving when the snow arrives, but that's fine. And as this thing stands spec'd out the way it is, it's sitting at about $124,000 for this particular model, as it is, which is a lot for it, but you're getting a lot of vehicle. Not just the size. I mean, everything that this car can do inside. You know, the screens are gorgeous on the center stack and the gauge cluster, and there's a lot of touch screen, but it's okay because it's big and it's close. And even though this is a big car, I don't feel like I need to stretch to reach for things. And I love the wood insert. You know, I don't know that I would go with a cream interior, only because it's not the easiest to keep clean. And if you are going to have this vehicle with children, then you likely want to not have a cream interior. I would recommend that. The drive is nice. It is big. I do feel a little, I never usually have trouble with the size of a car in terms of like where the sidewalk is and not wanting to curb the wheels. I feel a little bit uneasy in this particular vehicle only because it drives so big. Everything about this, it's very wide. The nose is huge. You know, the front end comes up to my shoulder. And again, this is not really anything to write home about because I'm not that tall, but still, this is a large vehicle. And when in terms of the 2nd row and what's offered back there, that one in the back can talk on that a bit more because I've not sat back there. I simply loaded up the back. But what have you got in the 2nd row there, bud?
Well, there is a TV on the back of the seat, and you have a heated seat. You can control your own heating. And you also have a cup holder that you can push out of the thing here. And it's a lot. There's a lot of room back here.
For those TV screens, what can you hook up with them? What did they show? Like, what can you watch on there?
Well, you can like hook up a USB to it. Like if you have like a Fire Stick, you can hook it up. But sometimes it doesn't work. We still haven't figured it out.
Yeah, we're still figuring that one out, but you can also hook up, what, Apple TV?
Yeah.
Roku? Yeah. And then you have, so you've got 2 captain's chairs back there, and then the 3rd row, you put that up when we first got the car. Did you sit back there?
Well, there are cup holders. It's pretty big back there.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's enough room if you had a big family.
Yeah.
I think this would be a good road trip car.
Good stuff. So yeah, all in all, driving the Cadillac has been fantastic. So is loading it up. As you can see, you know, we had 3 days worth of gear for all weather, plus our snowboarding gear, plus all of our food, because we had to cook in our own cabins. And we were never squashed for space. In fact, we had more than enough room, and we were able to change into our snow pants and our snowboard boots in the back seats and still have room to move around. So no, it's been an excellent road trip getaway car. haven't had to put gas in it yet, so we'll see how that goes. But truthfully, you know, I'm averaging 14.1 liters per 100 kilometers right now. And yeah, okay, I've done mostly highway, but still I'm impressed that the V8 is being so well behaved and that I'm not just watching the gauge drop as I accelerate. And to me, that's kind of it's a good point to bring up, because that's always the worry with a vehicle that's this large with an engine this size. So far, so good. Would I spend $124,000 on this car? I'm not in the market for it. However, if you are and you absolutely need the space, then I could easily live with this, because it is quite grand inside and quite comfortable. Let's just take a moment to talk about the interior of this 2021 Cadillac Escalade. So for starters, this thing is more upscale and luxurious than my own condo. And I'm not joking. I actually think this thing has more technology than I have in my own condo, which makes me feel a little sad. I don't even really know where to start in here, but to say that for the price that it is, sitting at $124,000, you get a lot of stuff in here, so you won't be disappointed. I mean, I feel like a hypocrite saying it, because how many times, I know you've all watched my videos, how many times have I said, I absolutely hate touchscreen, and I just want buttons, and I just want, like, you know, things that I can manually touch. So this thing has like 3 layered digital screens here. So the gauge cluster, it has this fancy little extra screen over here to my left, and then it's got the big entertainment screen over here. Everything's touch, but I love it. And I think I love it because it's big, just like everything else in this car. So the buttons are easy to get to. It's super user-friendly. I didn't have to kind of go through any sort of learning curve. The only thing that kind of threw me off was this little left-hand screen over here that I've never seen in another car before. And I can flip through the screen here and either have trip information. I can change up my gauge cluster to either show my speedometer, my revs, my gas, or I can do the augmented reality, which completely throws me off. And I guess I get it for off-roading if you really want to do that in your Escalade, but it basically shows you what's already in front of the car. So if you have eyeballs and you're driving, you don't really need that. It kind of shows you a little bit lower in front of the bumper, given that this is such a high vehicle. So again, possibly for parking, but this car can park itself. So you can also put in the night vision screen, which in that case I get. That's for driving. Let's say you're in dark country roads, they're not well lit, you can put the night vision on, and that could potentially save you running into a raccoon or something larger, which I feel like even a moose wouldn't really stand a chance in this thing. But that's what that's for. So that screen, and then you can also change up your head-up display over here as well. So you can swipe through that, again, all touch. But there are buttons down here. So everything that I can do on here, touchy-feely and swipey and whatever, I have the option to do down here. And I think I mentioned that in the other Cadillac that I had last summer, that they kind of kept the buttons for that older crowd that is inevitably going to buy this brand or look at it anyways, just to make them feel a little bit more comfortable. So if you don't want to flip through everything and swipe and feel with your fingers, then you can always use the buttons down here and they do exactly the same thing, or what's on your steering wheel as well. Now, so that's those 3 layered screens. So in the center stack here, okay, let's talk about the HVAC for a second as well. I really like the way it's designed. The buttons mimic the shape of the Cadillac symbol. Again, I think I said that in the ATV that I had, or CTV, can't remember what it was, the Cadillac that I had last summer that was bright red and really pretty and fast. It's got the same shape, and again, it's a really nice digital screen, very easy to manipulate, very easy to figure out. I also can control the rear climate from here. So like the other day, my kid got out, he left everything on high. I got back in the car after dropping him at school, everything was blasting in the back. I don't have to get out and go back there. I can do it all from here, funnily enough. I also have a refrigerator here, which I think I mentioned in the drive. As you can see, I might not look very different, but I'm cleaned up and we made it back from the country, so yay! We survived. This is actually this very large center armrest here, which I know you can't see in the video, but it is very large. is actually a fridge. So we stored this full of drinks for the 2-hour drive to where we were going. And I have, funnily enough, kept like bottles of water in here during the week as well. So you can turn the fridge on and off in there as well. And I can also control the rear screens. So you can see back here, I have a TV on the headrest. So from there you can plug in, which I think my son had mentioned, that you can plug in an Apple TV, HDMI, Fire Stick, all that. We didn't manage to make it work, and I think I know why, because also in this armrest here is a little turn-on button for the plug that's in the back, which I never did. So there was never any power going to the Fire Stick that we tried to plug in. You live and you learn. He still enjoyed being back there. What else can I do? Oh, so there's augmented reality here in this gauge cluster, but then I can also change my rear view mirror to show me a digital image out the back. So this would be best used if you have your Escalade so fully packed to the brim that you cannot see out the rear. So you can't see out the back window. Flip that little button on the bottom here and it becomes a digital display, kind of like a rear view camera, but a little bit higher up, because it's a different camera for rear view. When you do a backup, there's 2 little cameras back there and they change up depending on what you're doing. So it shows you out the back of the car. I drove with it like that because you can keep it on all the time. It doesn't matter what speed you're doing. It's not limited to reversing or under 30 or any of that, like I was on the highway. And it's extremely difficult, just like keeping the augmented reality on. I find it extremely difficult for my eyes to readjust. Maybe I'm just old. But to go from reality to digital, it's almost like my eyes can't catch up to the refresh rate. And I find it very disorientating. So I personally wouldn't drive with it like that all the time. Again, maybe I'm old. I guess so. It's a cool feature. And again, if I was gonna load up this Cadillac and I couldn't see out the rear window, then I would definitely turn that on, because it does let you see out the back. It doesn't let you see anything in here. You're not looking at the rear passengers anymore, which is weird too. That I constantly, when my son's in the car, I'm always looking in the rear view to A, check the traffic, and B, check on my kid, because I can see him. So with the digital display there, I'm looking up and I'm like, oh my God, my kid's gone. All I see is cars. I'm like, oh, right, it's just out the back. So you got to get used to that. I mean, just everything about this, everything about this car is big and grand and huge. The seats are big and plushy. I have speakers up here, which, by the way, the sound system in this thing is insane. I can't remember what sound system it is, but you can even change it up so that it really plays to either the front, or I can change the sound so that it's really surround sound for the second and third rows. So this is kind of a car too that you're meant to be driven in. So you do kind of want to be a passenger. I'm a bit sad that I had to drive it just a bit and I couldn't experience that luxurious passenger feel of having everything. Like, sir, would you like a cold beverage? And let me turn on your entertainment system and make sure the sound is geared towards you so that, you know, they're in their own little bubble. And everything, again, is controllable up here on this screen. The seats drop down electronically in the back, second and third row. Little buttons that you can press so you don't have to worry about, you know, breaking a fingernail while you're doing that. Plenty of room back there. This thing has a massive amount of storage in the back. Even with the third row up, it still has a decent sized trunk. I've got a massive moonroof here, which really opens things up again, just in case you didn't feel like there was enough space in here. And it just, I don't know, it's a really, I didn't actually think that I would like, I'm being honest here, I didn't think that I would like this Escalade as much as I do. I thought it was gonna be too much, like too in your face, too like flashy, too grand, like puffed up chest, like look at me, I'm a Cadillac. And it is, but in a really classy, understated kind of way. I love this wood finish on here. So you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 or 5 tones, different strips of wood that they've put together and then veneered. And it's this beautiful pattern. And with the middle armrest closed up, so I've got cup holders here as well as plugs for my phone, like USB. But if I close that up, it's almost like a beautiful tabletop finish right here that leads into the leather Escalade armrest. That is, of course, your fridge underneath. And just everything flows, and it you know, you're gonna choose to buy a home, or you're gonna choose to buy an Escalade at this price. Like, you could live in this thing and you wouldn't be uncomfortable. Get your fridge, heating, get your TVs. It has a Wi-Fi hotspot if you pay for it. Like, I mean, who needs a condo when you have a Cadillac Escalade? So just like everything else about the Cadillac Escalade, the exterior is grand and big and large in every sense of the word. I mean, this thing comes up to my shoulder, the front bumper. And truthfully, that's not a huge deal because I am vertically challenged, but this thing still takes up a huge amount of space on the road, as it should. I mean, it is a Cadillac Escalade after all. So I really like the redesign on this thing. I think where it was kind of really in your face and overly large features before in the previous generation, this one has kind of taken it down a few notches, and I like that. They've understatedly redesigned it, and to me that's classy and sophisticated, and I love it in the white. You know, it doesn't have too many chrome accents, super good. It has the nice big Cadillac symbols as you would expect in the front and the rear, and honestly just everything about this truck screams opulence and screams look at me and my big Cadillac, but not in an obnoxious way. I like the little Cadillac decals on the side. You know, they're silvered out so you don't have a color there. It really kind of blends in with that pillar without being invisible, but it's still there. So just in case you forget, it's a Cadillac, they put it on the side too. So all in all, you know, the overall look of this truck is just grand, and I like it. I like it a lot. That's been it for me in the super grand and opulent and amazing 2021 Cadillac Escalade. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, if you have any questions or comments, you can hit me up at Miss Miranda L on Twitter or Instagram, Miranda Lightstone on Facebook.com, or drop a comment below. Hope to see you guys back next week. Enjoy the sunshine.